Hi, my name is Sang. At first, when this project came into being, was how Mars was being talked about in the media because 2024, a lot of news was coming out. Life could sustain itself there, which, if you read the research, it's not all that. The media talks about how that's the next frontier, how we're going to dominate and conquer. And I just felt like my art or this project materialized around resisting that kind of specific narrative, and seeing what other things we could think about. Okay, what comes after survival? What is nature in Mars? And at first, when I was proposing this project to CICA, I was thinking maybe I don't want to just leave it in this kind of sci-fi, or how it's usually being visualized is through screen and through maybe books or text. And I thought, can we make it physical? Can we bring that texture or smell? So what I at first thought was I'll have like an immersive uh, kind of place where people could feel and smell and just engage interactively. I saw Mars as a place that was full of failure and full of our attempts to control what's happening, but this atmosphere is untamable. And my first sketches dealt with kind of a future Martian outpost that was discovered later, and it's kind of in the form of artifacts that we could try to piece together. Also represents ideas that may have failed, so I thought of many different ways that all the things that we have in mind on how we might uh, interact with non-human beings like plants there. I first started with stories of what kind of plants might live there and why plants. I was thinking about not plants as a food source, but our gardening as a way of relating with non-human bodies or caring for non-human bodies and nurturing them, making them live, and how by nature that dynamic is not something that you can, well, we try to optimize it, but it's, anybody who gardened would know it's really frustrating. Humble mesh, people in America who live in the Midwest are very familiar with this. Put in this kind of foreign environment, it's also kind of weird, but we thought, okay, maybe inspired by the tumbleweed, you could think of something where in Mars it gathers biosignals, so it would just kind of passively go around and maybe plant sensors in it to create some kind of web. So it was just a sculptural visualization of what that might look like, and also how that might play around in foreign terrain. This vestiges is something that I worked on to create some kind of fictional narrative of the kind of research that might take place there. For instance, takes the form of some kind of research paper where the roots aren't growing in the way that we expect them to, which to get the nutrients because the gravity is so low. I found it interesting to just create these kinds of clues, and play around with, for me, also convincing myself, oh, it could also, this could happen, and seeing like a physical residue of that. I use these vessels as actually a container of memorializing maybe a relationship that you have with the plant, because any plant, because you dance around with it and try to find its own rhythm, it's always a dance, and it it could get very intense, the relationship, and then when it dies, you also mourn its loss. And I have a habit of holding on to remnants of those plants, any plant. So this was my way of like fossilizing and thinking, hey, maybe we could memorialize something. It's called suspended bloom because it never bloomed. Right now, the next step of a Martian gardener project that I'm working on is how do plants really react to these kinds of hostile environments? What kind of change might take place in the plant? So I want some kind of physical thing to grip onto, to see, you know, not just it plays in my head, but some kind of physical proof that would also lead the project in different directions.